Yeah, hey, what's up? So, yeah, I'm dropping a few frames. I'm not entirely shocked about that. Um, oh, I fucked with my god damn it, I fucked with my audio settings too. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, it says I'm streaming on YouTube as well, so that's kind of cool. Uh, I've got it up. So, what I did was there's a service. It's a rebroadcast service that one of the people in the community that like on Twitch, they you put your stream keys into there and it will send it out to different locations. So it costs, I think it's gonna cost like 40 cents for like the stream or something. So it's reasonably economical, and yeah, it's like it's pay as you go, so like whatever you use, then you pay them. You don't have to like put the money in, so I'm just testing it out. If it works, I mean, I have no problem streaming to YouTube. It's just, yeah, I don't know. So we're gonna try. I don't know, like, see what, if anything says. Yeah, I have 0 viewers over at YouTube at the moment. Let's see, I've got nothing. Whole lot of nothing. So yeah, yeah, this is bad. Philosophy roulette. Gotta fix all this, yeah. There's a lot of things to fix here, so who knows. But yeah. What is this? Do I need this? Maybe what I'll do is yeah, have to futz with this thing. But yeah, so if you want any of the info about the restreaming service I'm using, let me know. That I do have somewhere. This is the I should get this. This is the people I'm using. This Commander Root, who I've seen in chat. Like Commander Root's somebody in one of the other Twitch chats I'm in. So, yeah. So this is what I'm testing out. I was thinking about doing stuff later also, so I figured I'd try to get my stream in now as opposed to later. I don't know. Maybe I'll be around. Maybe I won't. But I was like, I'll do a stream now. And so test out the YouTube thing, see how it's working, and yeah. So far, I dropped 34 frames at stream start, so that doesn't count. And about another 32 frames since, which is no real big deal. Yeah, so. Not like I'm streaming at any high frame rate either, so. This is not like it's gonna kill me. But how you doing, Ann? What's going on? Yeah, so a little bit of tech. I have no idea. Yeah. Let's see if other things work. I don't know. I just don't know. I have not, you know how complicated this shit gets. Reset something else just for shits and giggles. Alright, so that says it's loaded. Let's try something new. Yeah, I know. Trying different stuff. If this works.
Hi, Infernal. How we doing?
Okay, so the TTS is might be working. Let's see if I can do a different message now, because last time it would do one message and then stop. Is very fancy.
Contemplate this.
TTS is very fancy.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Oh, there we go, yeah. So I've got a few things. I did that. I was not expecting to do the co-streaming shit. Or not co-streaming, the dual streaming to YouTube. But hell, who knows? I mean, for all I...
My name is Jennifer Lopez, and I like tacos and burritos.
Yes, very good. And I have a whole bunch of voices I could be using. I haven't really got that set up yet very well, but I could pick a random voice and do that. So we could see what that's like if we want to also. But yeah, I figured I didn't get used very much. I put way too much time and effort into getting this thing working a long time ago, and basically only Cinesemiotics uses it, which is cool. It's fine, but I'm very happy when he does. But like, yeah, I figured I could do a little bit more with it since there was an upgrade and I upgraded a bunch of stuff. So hopefully that'll be cool. Yeah, so it's just I don't know. I'm like, I keep like clicking on the YouTube stuff. I have no idea, but it looks like it's running, so it's fine. It says good connection. So I'm pretty happy so far. It looks like the restream service is going well. So yeah, cool. And yeah, only my drop frames not terrible, not great, but not terrible either. So entirely reasonable so far. I'm gonna have to, I don't know. Too many things going on at once. It's fine. It's fine. So cool. How's everyone else doing? Let's see. I have my paper that I said I got published. It just got released, so I'm real pleased about that. I think I spammed a little bit of Discord, like, please click on my paper, and that's nice. So I got 30, 40 downloads in the last day, which I'm really appreciative of. I was thinking maybe 20, like people I know would give me a click, but I got a few more than that, so that's really nice. Okay, cool. Thanks, Ann. Yeah, I mean, it's the same name. No Gray Zero, whatever you want to call me. I don't care. So like, it's yeah. So yeah, I'm not even asking anyone to read it. I'm just asking when to click. So it's out now, and I've got some downloads, and that's all that I was really shooting for. So that went really well. I was just like sitting around, like going through all the Discords I'm in. Whoever had a a self promo channel. And self-promo channels I know are not the most populated or most clicked on channels, but a few people saw it, and if I got like 1 or 2 clicks out of that, that's like super great. So I'm real happy I got a nice little bump at the start of when the paper got released, and that's really nice because this is where you get most of the things, is when things get released new. This is not a major journal, it's a small journal. You get some clicks on like their journal website from people who are interested in logic and the stuff that gets published there. So you get those people, but that's only on that journal website for people who care. Then on the Phil Papers page, that's where I'm like, I'm hanging out here all the time. There's like this stuff. This stuff, like there, that I got you have to like put a little effort in, because that's not like the standard place where people are looking for logic things. Sometimes people do, but like I got the 40 click-throughs on that, so that's real nice. So that shows a little bump when you get it. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and that's right. You can't think of it as spamming. I don't really have a good viewpoint on a lot of stuff. You're right, it's presence online, and it's like you have your online presence and what you do. It's not spamming, it's sort of representation. Oh, I gotta change my bot so I don't have this old paper up. I gotta put the new paper up, so as opposed to the old paper. So yeah, it's like now I've got the new paper. Oh, that's what I was gonna do. I knew I forgot something. I was gonna update the bot. I could actually do that. Can I do that? Eesh, do I have the link? See, this is the sort of thing. But this is actually kind of funny. I could be like, let's go see if it's here. New articles. It might actually be here. Wow, a lot of stuff got put out in the last few days. No, this is I don't see it. Where I wonder why it didn't get loaded up here. What's the there's usually a date on this stuff. Where's the date? Like I don't think I think this is already too late. Like there's too many days. Because you'll see at the beginning, I think, of these things should say when the date it was uploaded. New stuff, yes, the October 22nd. My thing came out like the 20th or the 21st, whatever's here, so didn't come out here. Would have said something right here, but it'll be around, I guess. So, let's see. This is the 21st. It should be either the 21st or the 20th is the official release date. So, no, Esteron. French people, criminal. See, it looks like it sorts it by alphabetical on the date. So maybe what happened was it got pushed down to the 20th. Let's see. I cannot. Yeah, look how many stuff got released in the last day. This is actually kind of crazy. Yikes. Yeah, so this is all... Did I just get bumped off the first page because the day after my stuff got published, it was crazy? That's funny. That's weird. So, like, you wouldn't even see it if you're looking at all the stuff I look at. Or did they just, No, because it's all alphabetical. Interesting. Things I did not know. Alright, so I'm just sort of fascinated by how Phil Papers does, like, their sorting and stuff. So now we're on the T's. Let's see. I want to see what day, if it came out at all. Jeebus. Alright, so here's the 20th. So this is the official release date, I think, for me. Hey, St. Just Germany. Hi, what's going on? I got a paper published. I'm trying to see if I can find it where it got listed, like on the philosophy. This is the philosophy listing site, if you don't know. It's sort of like a repository and a half social network and like other things. So here we go. It should be Australasian Journal of Logic. Here it is. Yay, I finally made it. So what's going on? A lot of times, if you don't know who I am, I'm a philosopher. I don't do much gaming, although I do play Minesweeper. I did develop a competitive Minesweeper, so like an arcade version. And I just got published. And so this is the my listing here on the Phil Papers website. It's the paradox, paradox, non-paradox, and conjunction fallacy, non-fallacy. Thank you, Saint. And so it's like and what I do here on Twitch is I read, and YouTube now, I download random philosophy papers and I read and explain them. So I could read and explain my paper, although I don't really want to, because I don't know how good the content would be like, hey, this is what I said. And so this is what I do here. You can talk a little philosophy. This is not like an ask me. Not really like an ask me anything. You can ask me anything. I reserve the right to tell you to fuck off, but yeah. Oh yeah, I'm on YouTube. Hi YouTube. And I reserve the right to tell you to fuck off. It's just how it goes. So yeah, there's my listing with everyone else. And you can see I've got 41 downloads. Like other people have got 3 and 2. These are people from the same journal. What's my favorite German philosopher? German. I guess, Wittgenstein's Austrian. I don't like Kant. Hegel only slightly. Nietzsche. Let's go with Nietzsche. He's German. So, I like Nietzsche. He's alright. So, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Do I know of any contemporary people I like? There's plenty of contemporary German people that are cool. But like, yeah, I don't know if I don't have anyone off the top of my head. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna say hi in my YouTube chat. Wow, I just said hi in my YouTube chat. It's crazy. Yeah. So, who's your favorite German philosopher? But yeah, so I'm real pleased. I've got, 2, 3. It's like, I download my paper once. That's what, like, you're going to get 1 or 2 downloads for yourself just to test it out. And then, but I got like another 40 people download it because I downloaded my paper one time. So this is real cool. Here I am. I'm listed here, even though it got buried off the front page of this. I don't mind. That's cool. There's my name. Here's my profile. I should put some more keywords in, but that's about it. And yeah, so if like you go and you want to find out, like, this is the journal website here. So there's, the journal website. And you can see the abstract, download button. It's open access journal, DOI. It's all sorts of official stuff. And you can see I've got 32 downloads here on the official website too. So it's not, this is like, so I've got like about 70 downloads or whatever between the journal website and the Phil Papers page. You like famous Habermas, Sloterdijk, Precht? I don't know Precht. Your favorite would be Leibniz because he was a polymath. Yeah, sure. Those are, I don't know Precht, but the other ones I do know a little bit about. So that's cool. Yeah, Leibniz is, very, very famous and very, very, he wrote on a ton of subjects. In fact, I don't know if, it's always worth mentioning just because it's so weird. They don't know how Leibniz actually wrote the amount of stuff that Leibniz did write. It's like an insane amount of stuff. And I don't mean insane like just hyperbolic. It's like we don't actually, we can't really explain how he was alive. They think he may have slept like 2 hours a night and was writing for like the other 22 hours. It's just a massive, like they've got 100,000 pages of like handwritten manuscript stuff. Like, it's not exactly, we don't know how to explain it. It's hard to explain. Habermas is your German daddy. Very nice. So yeah, so it's always worth saying that Leibniz just put out so much stuff, did so much important work in different areas that it's kind of fun. So yeah, I can put this in chat. Look at this, I can do this now. Oh my god, I have to chat twice when I like drop stuff in. So Leibniz wrote sometimes in the corner of the papers and reassembled pieces of paper, you believe? Did I know that? Yes, like that's right. I think he did like cut and paste and stuff. Yeah, like it's interesting. Other philosophers have done that too. Wittgenstein cut and paste. He would write stuff out and then he would cut his papers up and then rearrange the sentences. Now, that used to sound weird until you realize we do that all the time with cut and paste in like word processing documents now, and it's like easy and obvious. But back in the day, that's like, you know, the idea that you could cut and paste is like, that took a lot more effort to cut and paste back in the day. So it's like we do that constantly now, and it was like that was like innovative back in the day that you could do it. So yeah, let's see. Oh man, this is bad because I have to. Yeah, I don't like having to. I don't have all the windows open at the same time, so I have to like click on stuff, and that's not good. I have to fix that. I have to figure out what, because I don't know like what's going on so much on the YouTube side. But that maybe whatever. Who cares? Screw YouTube. I have the chat open, which is the most important thing. So if someone is a jerk in chat, I can kick them out. But other than that, that's fine. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm probably just gonna go, unless anyone has like stuff to chat about, of course. But like I'm probably just go read something because you know I can and might as well at this point. Because yeah, like I said, I don't know if I might go try to do something later and might not be on at my normal time. So that's fine. So if anyone has like any sort of interesting stuff, cool. But I mean, to be real, I'm not a good streamer. It is so hard. It's like it's hard for me to like maintain all the stuffs. So it's like I just change one little thing. I've got TTS working. I'm doing different things with my like I've got the just chatting I fixed up, so it's a little bit better than it was. And you know, I've got like this, and I'm co-streaming, dual streaming to YouTube, and whatever. It's all good. So I'm just gonna go try to read a paper like I normally do. Let's go see what's new. I can always read my paper, but I don't really want to read my paper because you know when something's too close to you, it's kind of hard. How come I'm streaming now? I was thinking I might take tonight off, but then I was like, I don't really want to take the night off. So I was like, let me stream now and like get some stream time in. And then I didn't take the day off. I just, you know, rescheduled. But I also wanted to like, if I wait till later to try all the other stuff, then everything's going to get pushed back. So I might as well try now. And I feel like it's less, you know, if it's not like my official stream, it feels less bad to fuck it up if it fucks up. So it's like if say the dual streaming didn't work, then I'd just end stream and I'd be like, well, I could still stream later. As is, it's kind of working now. It looks like it's going okay enough. So it's like I can just stream, but that's the thing. The 6 types of philosophers, I have not heard of that specifically. I'm sure there's plenty of ways you can break down the 6 types of like philosophers into many, many types. I mean, you've got like the analytic jerks, and you've got like the overly sensitive types, and all sorts of things. But pick and choose your favorite trope. Yeah. What does it take to make a difference? A reply to Andreas and Gunther. What is this? Let's take a look. A reply paper might be short. No, it's 19 pages. I'm not reading that. Can you show a screenshot? Maybe via Discord? I mean, if you want to check Discord, let's see if the socials work. So you can throw it in Discord if you want. You can throw the link in a chat, and I'll take a look if it's just a link, too. I have the links active here. So, yeah. Nope, not reading your paper. If it's 19 pages, response paper. Like, seriously? Okay, you're in chat. Yep. Made it to Discord. Let's see. I don't even have Discord open. Let's get Discord. Oh man, so I'm gonna have another thing that's open right now. My poor computer. This is an old computer. I don't know if it's actually. And it's downloading update. Let's see, am I dropping frames? No, I'm not dropping frames. Oh, this is a big old text block, dude. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so you got the curious person, you got the sage, you got the gadfly, the ascetic, and the courtier. Okay. Yeah, so that's, yeah, I gotcha. You found some time ago? Mm-hmm. You could just drop that in the links in you can just drop that in chat too if anyone else wants to take a look. But like, yeah. Okay, so this is up. Streamer mode enabled. All right, cool. Where was that? Wiki. Mandarin. There's an academic philosopher and said the system looking for tender. Yeah. So, copy link. So it's like this sort of thing. You do mainstream for camming enough to keep my attention on both plus apps and the interactive toys in Discord. Yeah. See, you're a better streamer than I am. I am like, you know, I do have multiple things going, but like I am just not as this multi-streaming. So what I'm doing is I'm using this space, this website right here. This is called Vault. This is rootspace.eu. It's by Commander Root, who's in one of my other communities. I've like seen them once or twice at least, and so it was getting used by a much bigger streamer, Excessive Profanity, who might still be streaming right now. So he was talking about this yesterday, and he said, you know, he was looking around for the different options. So if you have enough upload speed, you can get a plugin for OBS, and OBS will send out 2 streams. Like, so it'll send out stream to like you know, Twitch and wherever else. This, on the other hand, is it has you can watch your stream directly here, but this forward restream your live stream to Twitch, YouTube, and other stuff. So this you can stream to multiple services at the same time. So stream exports streams to multiple services at the same time, and it's a few cents per minute of you know, like just to forward it. So let's see, I think you click here, stream exports. All right, I'm not logged in on this computer, so I can't show you, but like you log in, yeah, I did on the other computer. So what happens is you log in, you put in your stream keys, and it gives you your own stream key. So then you just put one stream key into OBS, and then it will re-forward it to all the other locations. You use Commander Root for browsing streams. There you go. So yeah, like this is someone like in the other stuff, so that's cool. So yeah, you can use. I didn't know you were using Commander Root, but another, I guess, yeah, there you go. And there's no ads on Commander Root, so you know, I'm actually considering doing it. And so this actually allows you to back up kick VODs, back up your Twitch clips, automatic YouTube exports, things like that. So it's looks like a good service here. Yeah. So this is what I did. I did stream exports, and it's pretty straightforward. You sign in, you put in a credit card number, and then you just put in your stream keys for YouTube and Twitch and wherever else. What is Commander Root? It's Commander Root is just the guy's name. Like, so you'll see Commander Root on Twitch. That's the guy. That's his handle. That's all it is. Like that's literally it. Commander Root's just what he calls himself. I think his name's Tobias. He's out in Germany somewhere. So yeah, like that's all it is. So it's just some guy. He's, you know, technical person who set this up, and it looks like it works. So far so good. Yeah, I haven't had any more frame drops. My bitrate looks okay, and yeah, so I'm pretty pleased with the service so far. Yeah. Okay, bye and welcome again, Saint. So yeah, this is what I'm using right now, and if it works and it's good, I might continue to do it. Like if it's really not that like expensive, like if it, because it said, you know, an average of like how much you're gonna spend for like a X amount, like a few hour stream. It said it would be like, you know, $1 or something. Maybe I'll just keep this going, and then I can be on both YouTube and Twitch, and maybe Kick, depending on how I feel about stuff. So yeah, so let's see, blah blah blah. Oh, Justin E.H. Smith, blah blah. History in six type philosopher Justin E.H. Smith. I've seen some of his stuff before. He looks like an interesting guy. So here's a list of Smith 6 types. The Curiosus. These present their work as a monograph. Yeah, so they put like all sorts of they try to like understand the world in some grand way, some interesting thing. The Sage is a big thinker. They send, okay, so this is the person who, like, science and philosophy is a curiosist, like they're trying to understand like something about the world. Sage is a big thinker, they want a grand philosophy, a monolithic exploration. Gadfly, who likes to, get in on like what people think, question them. This is the old Socratic crap. Aesthetic stands away from society. Yeah, so person who's trying to get away from things as opposed to getting into the mix in science or to the big ideas or in social. This is the person who gets away from it. And the courtier is the person who gets in with the wealthy. See what actually they're the like pro-social sort of things. So like there's people who are anti-social and then pro-social is the aesthetic and versus the gadfly, the courtier. The gadfly gets in and just annoys everybody to see what actually shakes out. The sage is trying to like put everything together, and the curiosus is like focused on one area. Okay, interesting. That's how it goes. So I mean, this makes sense. But again, what are the different dimensions here? You've got the social, anti-social. You've got the science, pro-science, anti-science. So like the curiosus is the pro-science. The aesthetic is the anti, well, not necessarily anti-science, but they're pushing everything away. So the sage then is trying to put everything together. The aesthetic is pushing everything away. The gadfly is pushing things away, but like sort of on a different level. And and the courtier is the social philosopher trying to get in with all the high power, see what actually is the case in the social realm. Interesting, but like, who knows how much you're gonna get out of it. If you want to understand how philosophers have acted over the years, yeah, this works. If you're gonna understand something about the world, then you have to be one of them in different ways. But that doesn't mean you can't like overlap. So yeah. The end is nigh. See how long this is. I mean, it's going to be way too long. Mind always is way too long. 17 pages. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my god, why people can't you just like shut the fuck up and say something fast? What is this? Theoretical Inquiries in Law. Megalopolis Bound. Let's see. Yep, not available and way too long. Alright, screw you. Acta Analytica. A lot of these things in Acta Analytica a little too technical, but 17 pages. Don't feel like reading 17 pages of analytic philosophy. This is like a historical thing. Interesting. Yeah, so we've got politics coming out here. More analytic philosophy. Ooh, politics and suffering. Let's see if this is available. Clicky, clicky. Open access. PDF. I always feared these things are way too long, though. 21. Ay. And it's like huge. Nope. I don't understand people sometimes. Henselian value fields. Interesting. Annals of pure and implied logic. Nah. Let's see what Asian philosophy has to say. These are all, is anything short? Okay, so this one looks short. Let's see. On being without desire. See if it's available. Not available. Boo. This study clarifies how and why Taoist philosophers critique desires. See, this could have been fun, but it's not available. Let's give it a little search, and maybe we can see if it's available someplace else. Sometimes you can like just download from these sites. Download. Oh, I have to be logged in? No, I don't think I will be. Screw you, academia. I mentioned pro-anti-science. Is science for you materialism, empiricism, or maybe the scientific method, or just any science? Well, I mean, this is part of dispositions. Like, what do you like? What do you think is going to matter in your world? I wasn't meaning saying like, you're gonna learn something about science. The question is, like, if you think that's what you want to know about. Like, if someone who's doing political things, like, wants to know what justice is, or, like, the best way to organize people, yeah, you can look at sociology, but, like, the idea that you're looking at, like, biology or, like, physics or chemistry, that's not going to matter to you. If you're looking at like what do you want to know about like justice and like political, the best way to organize people politically, the best what to do in society, that's not going to be a science. Like you can do the science on that, but it's very hard. You're gonna have to sort of think about how do you want people to like how should we be organized. So you have like, you know, big debates between like capitalism and socialism and like communism. You can do science considering those ideas, but that's not where those ideas come from. It's not like studying physics is going to give you a communist bent. That's not, they're not going to match up like that. So it's like pro-science, anti-science. It's just if you're interested in things that science can't really talk about, like the best way to organize people, then you're not anti-science. It's just not going to be the focus of what you want to do. So it's like you can do scientific method, you can test theories about how people act in like given certain circumstances. But will that tell you which is the best like overarching political structure? No. You're going to find out that certain things don't work, but that doesn't mean maybe some other like, you know, little orientation is the right way to go. Taoism seems to me often like an ethics for passive behavior or non-behavior. I don't know enough about Taoism to, you know, really say that if it's all passive. The Tao or the way usually is saying the way to get by in the world. I don't think it's meant to be completely passive. It's meant to be more interactive. How do you correctly, you know, account for things in the world and then respond to them? So I think of it more of a reactive philosophy. But like, yeah, whenever I've heard anyone talk about the way and like the Taoist way, there's like old stories. And like I said, I'm not an expert on this, but if you think of the old stories of like, there's an old man who was like swimming in like a whirlpool, like where there was a, you know, waterfall and then there was like a whirlpool at the bottom, and most people would get sucked under, but that guy could just sort of like, you know, swim within the waters. So it wasn't passive. He had to work at it, but he was able to like continue to swim. And so that's the idea, is that you're actually reacting in the correct way to the world in order to get by. So yeah, maybe that's a reactive philosophy, but again, that's not a problem if you're reacting correctly. So yeah, so I don't know if you want to call it passive. I'd be more. It seems like it's not just only reactive. You have to be acting correctly at the same time. See, happy fish. Oh, this is another classic story. There's something about the happy fish. I forget what. It's like they had this sort of discussion about what, like, fish, and like it doesn't really make sense. But like you can interpret it in multiple ways, and it's interesting in every which way. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So this is like what, French language journal. Consciousness and cognition. Does walking running experience shape the sagittal mental timeline? See what this says, if it's available. Oh, it's available. So this looks like it's a, or is it available? Interesting. Did I just see, what did I just see there? I thought I saw something. Bah. Do I like philosophical quotes or quote by philosophers like punchlines? I mean, if they're good. Yeah. A growing body of evidence suggests that time could be separately represented either on the lateral or sagittal axes. And the lateral mental timeline has an origin associated with sensory motor experience, for example, reading or writing. However, it is still not clear whether the sagittal mental timeline also originates from sensory motor experience, for example, walking or running. So I don't know what that means at all. Or whatever. Okay, so they're doing how movement affects our perception of time. That's kind of cool, but like I don't need to read science. Like a few philosophers write aphorisms, and those are cool. If you do it well, they're really cool. If you don't do it well, then they're just kind of lame. But yeah. On the ethics of spying, a practitioner's view. Did they actually get a spy? Apply intelligence to ethics. Let's see what this is, if it's available. Download PDF. Let's just take a look real fast. Look-see. Real quick. I mean, it's a little bit longer than I'd really like to read shorter things nowadays, but yeah, it's 14 pages. But maybe we'll find something else. But it's kind of cool. Okay, so what else is a critical review of international social and political philosophy? Basic human needs, the duty to naturalize refugees. Okay, let's just click on the thing and see if I can get my colonialism, injustice of the past. All right, this one seems short enough. Let's see. Well, it's 12 pages. Let's take a look, see if it's available. Oh, it's a book review. I don't want to read a book review. Let's see. Equal responsibility in unequal world. See, this one says it's pretty short, 6 pages. Let's see if this is available. God, people have to make your stuff available. I'm end up reading my paper at this rate. Oopsie, not edit. Did not mean to click there. See if options works. This is interesting. Options does not work under Brave, which is an interesting problem. I wonder who fucked that up. But that button doesn't work here. Okay, nope. Does not have this. I like those. Talent hits a target no one else can hit, and genius hits a target no one else can see. Yeah, I mean, these things are cute, but I mean, it's the definition. It's like, what do you mean hit a target that no one else can see? Genius does go after, like, things that other people didn't think about, but, like, okay, fine. Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Yeah, but it's like, okay, between strong and the weak, between the rich and the poor, between the lord and the slave, it is freedom which oppresses and the law which sets free. I mean... Again, this is how you define all these terms, but sure. It's like, does the law really set you free, or does it bind you something? There's the thing in America where it says there's like an in-group and an out-group. The law for the in-group, they're not bound by the law, but they can do whatever they want. But for the out-group, the minority, then the law gives that, like, the law binds them and does not let them do whatever they want. So it's like, I screwed the quote up, but basically it's like for whoever's in power, the law does not bind, but like it allows you to do stuff. So it's like you can do whatever you want. If you're in America and you want to park in an illegal parking spot, it's like a very small fine. But if you're like poor, that fine is significant. But if you're rich, it's not. So it's like it controls who can park where based on your finances. I really would wish, if I ever get into power in the United States, what I would do is I would set up a percent, like they do this, I believe, in like Scandinavia somewhere, like Finland, where the fines are based on your income. So if you're rich, you're going to get a much bigger fine than if you are poor. And so that's the sort of thing. Yeah, exactly, Saint. It's like it depends how the law is made. And this is the thing. Fines in the United States really only affect the poor because the fines are not significant enough once you get to like past a certain threshold, which there's plenty of rich people here that they don't have to care about like paying fines like for speeding or, like where you park, like a parking ticket's not going to matter to them. But if you're poor and you're just getting by, that parking ticket's going to suck. But if you're rich, it won't matter. And so it's like you don't have to worry about parking tickets if you're rich. And so it's like you can park wherever you want. But like I'd be for laws that said, look, your parking ticket is relative to how much your income is, and therefore, like, yeah, you might get a $50,000 parking ticket if you're a billionaire. Then you might think again, it's like, well, I don't want to spend $50,000 on a parking ticket, even if you are a billionaire or a multimillionaire. It's like, do you really want $50,000 to go to a parking ticket? Then no. So this is the thing. Are citizens responsible for global wrongs? Like, am I responsible for all the shitty things the U.S. government does? I sure hope not. Alright, so these people just do not upload their papers. I'm getting tired of this critical review of international stuff. Yeah. So, it's nice to think that, like, the laws are protecting people, which quite often they are. Like, we have a lot of, safety laws here in the U.S. But, again, people can get away with stuff, and, it's okay. Alright, so, reply to Spears. Is the procreation asymmetry intuitively supported? What does that mean? I want like a nice short paper so I can feel less bad about like having a short stream. Let's see what economics and philosophy has to say. See, that's a review. I'm just looking for short papers. Reviews. Review. Reply. So they've been having a whole thing. Yeah, let's see. Relative. These things are long. I don't know if you can see, but like I have a way to tell if papers are short. So you can see it's highlighted here on the page. So it's oopsie. I have to, so I can like see what short stuff is available. Okay, there's a lot of reviews here. It's down here. Happiness review. Okay, so nothing's short. There's only that one paper wasn't available. Anyway. Anyway, St. Just Germany. How do you find my stream? You just looking at stuff? Why we need future generations? A defense of direct intergenerational reciprocity. How long is this? No. Almost 30 pages. Is the luxury tax justifiable? Why would you not worry about luxury tax? Like that's 23 pages of is the luxury tax justifiable? What the fuck? Lexical sufficientarianism, which holds that sufficientarian concerns should have lexical priority over other distributive goals, is excessive. That is a crazy... But I mean, the guy's name is Dick Timmer, so we should listen to him. The guy's name is Dick Timmer. Let's go find out. 13 pages, Dick Timmer. We want to know what Dick Timmer has to say. Oh my god. What is this? Oh my god. St. Just Germany says, do you think philosophy will be more or less relevant in the future? I mean, for society, can philosophy contribute to future debates? I found it by browsing German English small streams. Yeah, so there's a few different ways to go with this. Is philosophy ever going to be like huge, like the big thing? Probably not. I mean, it's just historically not been that way. Does it contribute to society? Yes. That's why it's stuck around this long, because people like it. At the moment, there's a big thing about all the artificial intelligence, the chat GPT. I think the hubbub has died down a little bit, but all of that stuff, that's going to be a big deal, and philosophers deal with that a lot. So in the near term, yeah, there's going to be business ethics, there's a philosophy of computation, philosophy of artificial intelligence. All that really matters right now, actually. So in the future, who knows? In the short term, yeah. I mean, at the moment, it's actually having a little bit of a moment. There's a guy, like, we read one of his papers, actually, just a few philosophy roulettes ago, John Simons. He got a lot of shit online, because he said the coming, because, you know, most philosophers or professional philosophers are, you know, academics. They're teachers. He said he went on Twitter, because I think it was still called Twitter last year or whatever, and said, we have to worry about the next generation of chat software, because it's going to be able to write papers, and the papers that the chat's going to write are going to be good enough for, like, college essays. And people were giving him a lot of shit, like, yo, you're just, you know, we can tell, blah, blah, blah. And, like, not 2 months later, Chat GPT-4 dropped, and it can write college essays on topics that are, like, completely unique, and it's hard to tell. And so he was, you know, got a lot of shit all of a sudden, and then it turned out he was 100% right. He actually kind of was at the forefront of this stuff and was able to, like, call it out. And, you know, now he's out in University of Kansas. They set up, you know, and he's, like, the director of their, like, their artificial intelligence and, social philosophy, like, program. They have an institute now. And so it's like, you know, I don't know if they had that beforehand, but he's now the director of a little institute at the University of Kansas, because, you know, he looks like he's on top of his shit. So, like, this is the thing. It's gonna do it. It's gonna be there. So, philosophy is gonna be there. So, let's go see what the hell this is. I mean, this may be very, very boring, but, like, I don't always read economics and philosophy, and, but, you know, why not? let's take a look. So let's do a little bit of background. Excuse me while I do a little bookkeeping. So this is the link. If anyone wants it, you can always type !paper and get it. For those watching on YouTube later, not YouTube currently, because I'm co-streaming, or no, dual streaming, it'll be in the description below. Okay. Let's see. So, okay. Okay, so whatever. Alright, so as always, yeah, feel free to ask questions along the way. This is Weighted Sufficientarianism, Carl Knight on the excessiveness objection by Dick Timmer in Economics and Philosophy. And if you're in chat, I'm sorry if you're in YouTube at the moment, but if you're in the Twitch chat, we get to vote on this stuff at the end, and you can, participate, and there's a review that we'll have, and you can go look online, and we'll have that up soon, where you can see what, how chat and I felt about this paper. So here we go. Down already? I don't know. Find out. All right, so here we go. Introduction. Sufficientarianism holds that providing enough or close to enough as is possible is an important distributive goal. Okay, so we're trying to have a world where we provide sufficient resources for people. So that's, I guess, the idea is we're making everyone can just at least get by. We can distinguish two types of this view. Lexical sufficientarianism holds that providing enough is lexically prior to other distributive goals. Alternative weighted sufficientarianism holds that providing enough is non-lexically prior to other distributive goals. I have no idea what this lexical reference is. Oh, wow. You have an apple, but okay. Hey, my first YouTube comment. What's up, Ray? How you doing? Okay. So, put differently, lexical sufficientarianism holds that providing enough trumps all other distributive goals, whereas weighted sufficientarianism rejects such strong priority. Okay, so basically, you should always be providing enough, like a sufficient amount for people to get by versus, well, you should take other things into account. That's fine. In a recent article, Enough is Too Much, the Excessiveness Objection to Sufficientarianism, Knight argues that lexical sufficientarianism is excessive because it requires too much in various distinct ways. It requires that providing enough justifies any losses, no matter how large, and no matter to how many beneficiaries above the threshold. It requires that providing enough justifies complete insensitivity to concerns for responsibility and desert, and it, Is desert or desert? Yeah, desert. And it requires that any distribution above the threshold, no matter how unequal or unfair, must be allowed if doing so promotes providing enough. Yeah, so this is the, I've seen this sort of debate in the universal basic income crowd. They're saying, look, we're trying to get everyone to be sufficient, and it's not worth it to try to judge who's sufficient, because you're going to give like some people who don't need the money an extra $1,000 or whatever. And you just have to eat that loss. But like, people don't like giving rich people extra money. But the idea is that either you're trying to give everyone just enough to get by and it's not worth it to try to figure it out, or these other people say you gotta take certain things into account. If they're rich, you don't give them that, and it should be obvious. But that would be a weighted sort of thing, where if people need it, or if people don't need it, then they don't get it. Makes sense. Knight concludes by discussing responsibility catering weighted sufficientarianism, for short, luck sufficientarianism. Okay, so this makes sense. Yeah, if you're lucky enough to not need it, then you don't get it. But if otherwise, you do get it. Okay, so luck sufficientarianism holds that a distribution is more just if it gives weighted priority to providing enough, increasing overall advantage, benefiting the worse off, and being sensitive to individual responsibility. Yeah, so this is the thing. If you don't need it and you're not being a jerk, if you're not being a jerk about it and you do need it, then you can get like whatever, you can get some extra benefit. According to Knight, such weighted sufficientarianism tackles the excessive excessiveness objection while maintaining a distinctive commitment to providing enough as an important distributive goal. However, because luck egalitarianism and other types of weighted sufficientarianism still forego large advantages above the threshold for the sake of providing enough, Knight rejects luck sufficientarianism in favor of prioritarianism. There are too many terms in this paper. Prioritarianism. Come on, just say what you mean. Look, it's either you give people more money than they need sometimes, or you just give it to the poor. And then you have to define who's poor for whatever reason. In this article, the author will assume with Knight that sufficientarians should prefer weighted sufficientarianism to lexical sufficientarianism. Yeah, I guess like taking the hard line. Everyone should get enough. Maybe that's unsustainable because there'll be too big of a cost every so often, and you won't know that if you're just not even looking at the costs. You still have to look at costs. Okay, but Knight's discussion of weighted sufficientarianism aims only at responding to the excessiveness objection. He does not explore qualification weighted in much detail. As a result, aside from luck sufficientarianism, Knight neglects alternative versions of weighted sufficientarianism that may be able to meet the excessiveness objection. In this article, I will defend a specific version of weighted sufficientarianism, which I will argue will be argued to be preferable to both luck sufficientarianism and prioritarianism. In brief, I will defend a sufficiency view with multiple thresholds, which gives weighted priority to benefits directly above and below its thresholds, but which gives lexical priority to benefits below the lowest threshold over benefits above the highest threshold. Okay, this makes sense. So basically, this person is doing like, some sort of like, can I draw on the screen? I haven't done this in forever. Let's see, where am I? So like, yeah, we're talking about like, people who need stuff is going to be like a bell curve. And boy, is my handwriting terrible. Yep, not even looking. So yeah, so basically everyone here, everyone is like, this is the money you need. Everyone like below this point, they really need the money and they get it, like always get the money. Then everyone over here, like up into like this, like up here or something, whatever. These people get it some of the time, or like you can pay attention. But like if you're like in this area, you're poor, then you always get it. And then these people get like, some things. So it makes some sense. So, I mean, again, is this a great idea? But again, this is just shifting the the window of who gets what. Does this really make sense? Because you're still trying to, judge who gets what. Is just, softening the blow by having a bit of a window. Whatevers. Okay, in this article is structured as follows. In section 2, I distinguish 3 types of weighted sufficientarianism. In section 3, I draw Knight's excessiveness objection to define 4 desiderata for distributive patterns, such as sufficientarianism and prioritarianism. In section 4, I introduce partially weighted multi-threshold sufficientarianism. In section 5, I argue that this view is preferable to luck sufficientarianism and prioritarianism. Section 6 concludes. These things annoy me. Why do you need this? I do this myself a little, but I try to keep it to like 2 sentences, not 3 sentences. But it's like, yeah, when you realize how annoying it is to publish papers, then you do this because it cuts down on reviewers making dumb mistakes when they read your paper. It's kind of amazing. All right, section 2, 3 types of weighted sufficientarianism. According to weighted sufficientarianism, providing enough or close to enough as is possible is a non-lexically prior distributive goal, which means that it could be outweighed by other distributive goals. Though Knight presents a compelling case in favor of weighted sufficientarianism over lexical sufficientarianism, he does not explore the several ways in which sufficientarian views can be weighted views. However, this is important to understand the possible sufficientarian responses to the excessiveness objection. In this section, I will discuss 3 types of weighted sufficientarianism, which I will draw on when defending my proposal. Okay. So yeah, how do you actually tell who needs what? That's all that's going on here. 2.1, fully and partially weighted sufficientarianism. The first distinction between weighted sufficientarianism views is between fully weighted and partially weighted views. Fully weighted views hold that providing enough must be non-lexically weighted with all other distributive goals. Alternatively, partially weighted views hold that providing enough must be non-lexically weighted with some distributive goals, but has lexical priority over others. There are several ways of partially including weights, and consequently, partially weighted sufficientarianism can take several different forms. One might, for example, say that providing enough always has lexical priority over some goals, but has weighted priority over other goals. Alternatively, one might sometimes give priority enough providing enough lexical priority over certain distributive goals, whereas other times reject that it has lexical priority over these goals. For instance, one could give priority to benefits to those below some threshold when the alternative is benefiting the super well-off, but still give no priority to those below that threshold when comparing them to people just above it. Yeah, so again, you have a soft cap on where you're saying the cutoffs are. It's like if we're giving rich people money, then screw the rich people. But if you're giving like middle class over the poor, then it's like, well, it's a little softer. What is this all about? This person has so much jargon. It's a little bit annoying. But basically, how do you make a cutoff? If you're saying we should provide enough for all the people, well, where do you put the cutoff? And there is two positions. The lexical just says everyone should get enough, like, to get by. Consequences be damned. And then this person is in the weighted thing where it says, look, we have to make certain limits. Like, some poor people should get some amount of stuff, but not all the poor people all the time, because we have to wade in, have like weighted discussions on stuff. So basically this person is putting in what they consider to be like smart ways of drawing limits on and cutoffs on who gets what. That's all. So the lexical is the absolute, everyone should get everything, and then the weighted stuff is how do you actually decide when the cutoffs should be a little softer. Yeah. Damn, you have a great paper about wealth distribution, and that is super interesting, but rather long. That's awesome. Yeah, but like this is I don't know how much, like, there's always going to be cutoff somewhere, and this person's just saying you have to, make a sophisticated cutoff. I don't know, like, how clever you can actually be. It's just saying be sophisticated. Don't just be naive about this. You just can't give all the people all the stuff. Sufficientarian, what a world. I've never seen it before, but it's a bit too grandiose. Yeah, I'm a little annoyed at all the words in this. This is weighted sufficientarianism and prioritarianism, but like whatever. Maybe that's how it is in this area of philosophy and economics and philosophy. But like seriously, luck sufficientarianism, prioritarianism, like these words are very big and completely unnecessary in my view. But that's fine. Like I said, it's not my area of philosophy, but whatevers. Yeah. So like they were saying right here, like you might want to always give poor people the benefits if you're taking away from rich people, but if there's people just above being poor, so like just like lower middle class, then you don't give the poor people the benefits necessarily. If you want that paper that takes these ideas of distribution to an experimental level and is so cool, I mean, I'll take a look, but like not right now. But like I will take a look at it, which is kind of fun. It's like, yeah. So if you're going to experiment on like this sort of thing. So like this is a theoretical paper, but yeah, if you're doing experiments to see actually how that works, that is very neat. Okay. So author takes it that Knight's luck sufficientarianism is a fully weighted view. Yeah, so this is the luck saying, if you're lucky enough not to need the stuff, then you don't get it. It holds that a distribution is more just if it gives weighted priority to providing enough, increasing overall advantage, benefiting the worse off, and is being sensitive to individual responsibility. If so, providing enough never trumps any of the other distributive goals. A different type of luck sufficientarianism, however, might hold that providing enough has lexical priority over at least one but not all of these goals. If, for example, providing enough has lexical priority over increasing overall advantage, then if the choice is between either providing enough or increasing overall advantage, priority must be given to the former goal. But such sufficientarianism is still weighted because if the choice is between providing enough, benefiting the worse off, or being sensitive to individual responsibility, these different goals must be balanced non-lexically. In those cases, providing enough does not always outweigh these distributive goals. Yeah, so this is the thing. You can imagine where someone's like, well, we can never take, like especially in the United States, individual responsibility is like the number one priority because we have a real fetishization of like individual responsibility here in the United States. So they might say we can never actually take away someone's autonomy and their individual responsibility. And so even if it makes them worse off, and you're going to hear this all the time in the United States, even if in some sense they're going to be starving, You're taking away their responsibility. They're using lexical just as an absolute term. I have no idea why lexical is the term of choice in this area, but it just means absolute. So if it's like an absolute thing where you have to always provide sufficient resources for people, then that's the lexical choice in this area. I don't know why they're using that term, but I guess that's how it goes. So I mean, yeah, it throws me off because it's used differently in different parts of philosophy and sociology. And, oh yeah, anyone who does not know, let's give Anne a shout out, and this is going to be interesting. So let's see. Give Anne a shout out in Twitch chat, but then we're going to also give Anne a shout out in, let's see, is this going to work? Shout out. So do the old style. Do I get the old style thing? It's not working. Why did that not work? Oh, did I fix it? I don't know. All right, whatever. Let's try that again, actually. No. Oh, did I just do this? Damn it, what did I do? Because I'm trying to throw a shout out to you in what's it called? YouTube chat. Let's see. I don't know if anyone's there, but there you go. So if anyone is watching in YouTube, our buddy Infernal is a political scientist and sociologist, and does stuff on her Twitch chat. So you can go hit her up on where you just saw in chat. Twitch.tv. You're there, but okay. But yeah, so there we go. Dearie. Yeah, so this will be interesting. I could probably do multiple shout outs. I wonder if that would work. Oh my god. That would be crazy. Yeah. Alright. Might have to get some new chatting tech so I can do shout outs in multiple chats at once. I wonder if that would work. Who knows? Alright. Anyway. Weighting sufficientarianism, distributive goals, and other distributive goals. Okay. The second distinction between weighted sufficientarianism views concerns the distributive goals that providing enough is weighted against. As Knight defines it, weighted sufficientarianism holds that providing enough is a non-lexically prior distributive goal. Yeah, so yeah, it's not an absolute in the weighted version of things. So if you're weighting stuff, you don't always have to provide enough to all the people all the time. This suggests that weighted sufficientarianism weighs various distributive goals, one of which is providing enough. Lux sufficientarianism, for example, gives weighted priority to providing enough, increasing overall advantage, benefiting the worse off, and being sensitive to individual responsibility. But of course, weighted sufficientarianism could weigh other distributive goals as well, for example, equality, or weigh only some of these distributive goals, resulting in distinct types of weighted sufficientarianism. Yeah. Weighting different sufficientarianism sufficientarian goals. Yeah, this is killing me. The third distinction between weighted sufficientarian views concerns how they specify priority among different sufficientarian goals. Following Knight, I started this article by saying that sufficientarianism posits providing enough, or as close to enough as is possible, as an important distributive goal. But unlike the singular goal suggests, this definition entails two distinct sufficientarian goals. The first goal, that is providing enough, is concerned with bringing people above the threshold. The second goal, for example, that is, providing as close to enough as is possible, is concerned with improving people's lives below that threshold. This suggests a third way in which sufficientarian views can be weighted, namely by specifying weighted rather than lexical priority among these two sufficientarian goals. Okay, see, now you're, like, this is the thing. Once you have lines in the sand, like, this is what being poor is, then there's the question, do you want to get people just above the being poor line, or do you want to make the people below the poor line have a much better life, even if it doesn't get them above the poor line? So it's like, what counts as sufficient at that point? Knight implicitly acknowledges the distinction between different sufficientarian goals when he says that where it is possible to provide enough for all is concerned with sufficientarianism is concerned with providing as close to enough as is possible. Put differently, if providing enough for all is impossible, then sufficientarianism cares about providing as close to enough as is possible. In doing so, this view gives providing enough lexical priority over providing as close to enough as is possible. However, there are at least two interpretations of this idea that providing enough has lexical priority over providing as close to enough as is possible, neither of which is particularly plausible. Yeah, so I guess like if someone is all the way down here in the world, you want to get them up to here if possible. But maybe you can't get them all the way up, maybe you can only get them a bit. So the question is getting them this amount better than getting someone who only needs a little bit more above the threshold for what you think is like getting by? So you could improve someone's life a whole lot, but it really doesn't make them they're still going to be poor. But like, or you could get someone out of being poor, but you only have to increase it a little bit, which is better at that point. I don't know. So the first interpretation, called this the all or nothing interpretation, holds that if providing enough for all is impossible, thus getting everyone over the threshold, then sufficientarianism is concerned with providing as close to enough as is possible. There are two problems with this interpretation. To start with, in practice, it leaves little room for providing enough for all. In circumstances of scarcity and with a threshold at even a modest level, few distributions will provide enough for everyone. In practice, then, the all or nothing interpretation basically focuses on providing as close to enough as is possible. It leaves little room for the idea that providing enough is a valuable goal. Thanks for being here, Saint Just. I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, so I guess these are all like distinctions. How much you're moving people up, if you're trying to get people over the threshold, if you can only get a few people over the threshold, as opposed to getting a lot of people, a lot better than where they used to be. Who knows? But again, it's like, yeah, do you really need this? Do we really need this theoretically? I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. Now, if you're just trying to say there's lots of stuff to discuss here, yeah, there's lots of stuff to discuss here. The question is, are we going to throw out any of these ideas? Because in practice, it's not really going to, you're going to try to do what you can in practice. And it says this paper is annoying me so much. It's based on imaginaries, abstract economies, and the idea of what is basic standard of living. This is not a subjective matter. Yeah, you said it better than I did. That's the problem here. This is way too abstract, and you're saying, all right, well, when you've got different thresholds and you've got different way of interpreting the thresholds, it's yeah, no shit. But what does that do for anyone? If you have a threshold, there's different ways of dealing with it. Sure, but that's not a big deal. It's not a deep thought at this point. But okay, that's fine. Maybe like I was just saying, maybe that's not the point here. Maybe what they're trying to do here is they're saying, look, we're just muddying the water a little bit because you can't make any big claims in this area because there's different ways of interpreting everything. All right. Furthermore, the author says, the all or nothing interpretation neglects that it is intrinsically valuable if someone has enough, which many sufficientarians consider to be a core element of sufficientarianism. Yeah, so the idea that you're getting one person past the threshold there. And says it's like saying if we make everyone be friends, we can have peace. Then what? That's obvious, but it takes more than just wishing. Yeah, it's a little bit too what would you call this? A little too abstract at this point. So it's yes. But there's nothing to be actually argued over. It would be nice if everyone was friendly. It's so what? Okay. The all or nothing interpretation recognizes the instrumental value of someone having enough, for example, if that benefits those below the threshold, and because it suggests that person should receive lower or zero sufficientarian concern. It also recognizes the intrinsic value of everyone having enough because that is the intrinsic value it gives lexical priority to. However, it does not attach intrinsic value to someone having enough. For that reason, sufficientarians should reject the all or nothing interpretation of the idea that providing enough has lexical priority over providing as close to enough as is possible. Yeah, this is the thing. This is what you're saying, this is what I'm saying. What is the actual value of getting someone past sort of the threshold as being able to get by on their own? Does that raise everyone else up? Does that what's the value there? They're saying, look, this is a little too simplistic even for them, but it's, again, there's way more complicated things because people are not just going past the threshold. They're doing things in getting past the threshold. So yeah. On the second interpretation of the idea that providing enough has a lexical priority over providing as close to enough as is possible, call this the head count interpretation. Sufficientarianism says that if providing enough for more people is impossible, then sufficientarianism is concerned with providing as close to enough as is possible. This means that we must maximize the number of people above the threshold, and only if we have done so should we be concerned with the distribution below the threshold. And says, the World Bank and other institutions have set up the concept of poverty line for a damn reason, is material, objective, and measurable. Yeah. So that's the problem here. This is a little too abstract. They're talking about these, like, how to deal with thresholds without understanding what is going into the threshold. This is just a abstract threshold talk here. Like, all right, that's good, but, like, in practice, it's not going to matter. Like, if you want to do the metaphysics of thresholds, like what it is to go over limits, that's fine, but like it's just hard to connect with reality here. Yeah. Okay, so unlike the all or nothing interpretation, the head count interpretation recognizes the intrinsic value of someone having enough. So this is the issue. It says there's intrinsic value of someone having enough. That's nice. There is no intrinsic value of someone having enough. What is that objectively? Like, what does that do? Yes, it might be having enough, but that doesn't actually mean anything. Like, this is the thing. What the hell is intrinsic value of having enough? Like, that doesn't actually mean anything on the ground. So, like, this is the problem. It sounds great, but it doesn't have any objective, like, basis in reality. Okay, the problem with this interpretation, however, is that it fails to capture the value of bringing people closer to the threshold, even if they cannot be brought above the threshold. For instance, if the threshold is at 10 units, it may require pursuing a distribution 10-1-1-1 over B999, because in A, more people are above the threshold, even if in B, the worse off are much better off than in A. This is seen as a crucial objection to sufficientarianism, and I believe rightly so. For that reason, the head count interpretation must be rejected as well. Again, in the abstract, yes, but if you can get one person over the threshold, will they be able to pull other people with them afterwards? Like, that's the sort of thing, once you get like a community up, the community will run itself. And so it's like, you don't need to get everyone out of like a situation. You might only need to get a few people, and then they can pull other people with them, because people got family, they got friends, and they will help out. Once there's like a business in the area, a lot of times the business will create, if you get like a, what's it called, like an anchor business in I think that's what it's called. You get like a nice restaurant or like a car dealership. A lot of times here in the US, what happens is other people, systemic, yes, other businesses will grow around that business, and all of a sudden the whole region gets uplifted. So you may only need a few people to be helped to then do it. So like this A situation right here, where you've got 10-1-1-1, maybe that's sufficient to getting all the ones up a whole lot after. But if you get B999, but there is no like, then everyone will eventually drop back down, because there's no one that's actually making it on their own. So it's like, again, it's like the abstraction here seems to miss out on certain like real issues that when you have actual people, what happens with their interaction. Okay. Author says, in my view, this suggests that the most plausible type of sufficientarianism posits non-lexical priority between the two sufficientarianism distributive goals, that is, providing enough and providing as close to enough as is possible. Such weighted sufficientarianism gives weighted priority to maximizing the number of people above the threshold and to benefiting those below it. This, too, is a way in which sufficientarianism can be weighted. Yes, if you can get people over the threshold and then raise everyone else up, that's great. But that's also just a different kind of threshold. It's like, now we're just measuring things differently. Now, that's the problem here. If you say, okay, we've got this sophisticated sufficientarianism, if you just look at it a different way, then you're just measuring it differently, and then that's all it is. It's a measurement question. It's just an interpretation question. So I don't know if, like, actually there's been any theoretical progress here. You're just saying, I have different weights on my goals. That's it. Yeah. Okay, incidentally, so far I've only discussed priority among sufficientarian goals pertaining to a single threshold. However, sufficientarianism also entails different sufficientarian goals if it posits multiple thresholds, such as the multi-threshold sufficientarian view I will defend in sections 4 and 5. For example, suppose a sufficientarian view posits a low threshold T- and a high threshold T+. In that case, providing enough can mean providing enough to meet T minus or providing enough to meet T plus, and similarly for providing as close to enough as is possible. Yeah, so this is going to be a min-max problem. You have to like take minimum amount of resources to max out whatever your different goals are, and then you have a weighting between them. That's it. Okay, and these different goals can clash. For instance, if two people are below T minus and we face the choice between either bringing both people above T minus or only one of them above T plus. To settle such a question requires a specific prioritization among different sufficientarian goals. See, again, it's not going to be sufficientarian goals. It's going to be what actually is plausible in real life. Like, are they both going to die if they're below T minus? Or is one person going to die if they're below T minus and the other one just gets above T minus? Or if you get one person above T plus, will that actually pull the other T minus with them? Like, this is, it's not the sufficientarian goals. What's going to happen is what kind of society are you dealing with? All right, to summarize, I've distinguished three ways in which sufficientarianism can be a weighted view, namely by specifying weighted priority. 1, between some or all relevant distributive goals. 2, between sufficientarian distributive goals and other distributive goals, or among sufficientarian and distributive goals. Yeah, so you mix and match your goals. Fine. 4, desiderata for distributive patterns. My aim is to offer the most plausible sufficientarian responses to the excessiveness objection. Knight ends up rejecting weighted sufficientarianism, including Lux sufficientarianism, because it still forgoes large advantages above the threshold for the sake of providing enough. He defends prioritarianism instead as a more plausible distributive pattern. I will argue, however, that there is a weighted sufficientarianism view not discussed by Knight and not weighted in the sense he defines it that meets the excessiveness objection and is preferable to Lux sufficientarianism and prioritarianism. In this section, I will list 4 desiderata that this view must meet, and I distill from Knight's discussion of the excessiveness objection. I then introduce and defend my proposal in sections 4 to 5. Knight excessiveness objection encompasses 4 different objections, each of which holds that lexical sufficientarianism requires too much by lexically prioritizing providing enough or as close to enough as is possible over other distributive goals. First, the objection about the magnitude of advantage holds that lexical sufficientarianism objectionably forgoes large advantages above the threshold for the sake of minor benefits below it. And says, this sounds to me like fancy talk for the discussion about welfare systems. Fuck the poor who depend on the system and don't work versus people need fair wages. You know, and it goes nowhere, it's just talk. Yeah, that's fair. Like I was saying, this is not doing it for me because it just sounds like different ways of interpreting thresholds, which is fine in the abstract, but they're obviously talking about like real world application, and it's like, that's nice, but like the abstract understanding of like when getting someone over a poverty threshold, it's like that doesn't matter. So yeah. Now the question you just brought up also is this saying, well, what should we prioritize, like welfare versus fair wages? Yeah, this may just be trying to get there, but it doesn't even look like it's gonna get there at this point. It's like, well, what do you prioritize? And then you could say wages, or you could say welfare systems, and then it's again, how did they decide here? It's like, they're not making enough. They're not making a claim about what to do. They're just saying, well, here's how we balance the different priorities, and balancing the different priorities is not an answer. That's just restating the question that you have to balance the priorities, but that's not a solution. That's just a restatement of the problem. Yeah. Okay. So you have to look at so the author is now talking about, you have to look at how much you're benefiting rich people. Second, the objection about the number of beneficiaries holds that the lexical sufficientarianism objectively forgoes benefits to many people of the threshold for the sake of benefits to a single individual below it. Yeah, so it's like, are you helping lots of people or just one person that needed the help? Or you could benefit lots of people a lot, or just one person a little bit. Again, in reality, what's the difference here? Third, the objection about responsibility and desert holds that lexical sufficientarianism objectively considers people's actions and choices irrelevant in distributing benefits and burdens. Yeah, so again, is there any responsibility here? And says all of this is like an paragraph to economic papers. It's going nowhere and I'm complaining a lot. Sorry, ha. Yeah, but it's fair. Like, this is philosophy. They're trying to outline the structure of the problem here. The problem is, I don't think that the background theory is good enough here. They're just outlining, again, what it is to have a threshold and go above or below it or nearby it. It's like, okay, yeah, above, below, nearby, and then you've got like different gradations therein, but who cares? Like, that's fine. We know this. So it's like, yeah, it's not going anywhere at the moment. But that's not to say it's bad. Like, I don't know what this area is like. Maybe they need a little bit of theory to get people off the ground, but still. Yeah, it's well cemented in other areas. Yeah, this is not a... That's just the question. Like, did this need to be written in this area? I don't know. Okay, fourth, the above threshold distribution objection holds that lexical sufficientarianism objectively disregards any type of inequality or unfairness above the threshold for the sake of promoting sufficiency. Yeah, so do we completely ignore that we could maybe help people, even if they're not, like, they already have enough, maybe we could help them a huge amount to get to, like, way better. And then again, would that raise everyone else up? Like, a rising tide raises all ships. Even if people already were above water, maybe, you know, they could help everyone else up too. So again, this is the, oh yeah, let's give rich people tax breaks because they'll help everyone. Is that really a feasible thing? Now, maybe it does help. Maybe there are people, if you give them a little bit more help, they'll help everyone else. But, yeah, again, this is the rich people getting more tax breaks. Is that really a good idea? Okay. In light of these four objections, can we formulate four desiderata distributive patterns must meet? These desiderata are the following. Multiple of advantage. Magnitude of advantage, excuse me. A distributive pattern should not forego large advantages above the threshold for the sake of providing enough. 2. Number of beneficiaries. A distributive pattern should not forego advantages to many people above the threshold for the sake of providing enough. 3. Responsibility and desert. A distributive pattern should allow insufficiency resulting from responsibility or desert. 4. Above threshold distribution. A distributive pattern should be responsive to the distribution above threshold advantages even when not everyone has enough. Yeah, and I think this is the issue. This is now getting into like rich people apologetics. If the people are saying, oh no, the poor people are, irresponsible and they're wasting the money and that's why they're poor, we shouldn't give them money. You should give money to the rich people because they will raise everyone up. That's exactly what's happening here. Like, we're saying, all right, these people were irresponsible and the theory should be, our theory should, pay attention to that. And then, like, we should help lots of rich people because, they'll help everybody. But again, does this really make sense? But are these things that we could take into consideration? Yes, these are things that could be taken into consideration. Are they a good idea? I don't know, but they're saying we need to at least have them built into the theory. Okay. Knight suggests that Lux sufficientarianism meets these desiderata better than lexical sufficientarianism because it gives weighted priority to providing enough, increasing overall advantage, benefiting the worse off, and being sensitive to individual responsibility. However, as mentioned, Knight himself already raises an objection to Lux sufficientarianism and other weighted sufficientarian views, namely that they remain vulnerable to a version of the objection about the magnitude of advantage. He argues, quote, consider a crude version of weighted sufficientarianism that says that 1 unit of above threshold benefit has a moral value of 1, while 1 unit of below threshold benefit has a moral value of 101. This implies that if we can have individual A at 200 units, B at 99 units, or both at 100 units, we should bring about the latter. According to the view under consideration, the first world has a moral value of 2,199, and the second world has a moral value of 20,200. So it's like, yeah, in the end, like, if you just have, like, you can rejigger the numbers and, then you're saying, well, this is what we should put. But this is one of the things that gets me in decision theory too. What the fuck is 1 unit of above threshold benefit? This sort of thing just is like, kills me. What is above 1 unit of benefit, and what is a moral value of 1? How do you ever put a moral value of 1 on anything? This has a moral value of 1. This has a moral value of 2. This is a moral value of 1.5. This is nonsense. One of my favorite things that happened actually in a philosophy roulette was I had someone in chat that was kind of new, and I was saying, hey Valpo, what's going on? Welcome in. Yeah, I know, rare daytime stream for me. Like, sunlight, as opposed to my lights are on actually on my face. For instance, the paper I mentioned in this abstract, it resumes this whole debate. Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like, this is done. So yeah, Anne's abstract. Mainstream economists usually identify fundamental conflict between efficiency and justice in resource allocation. Markets are generally considered an efficient allocation tool, but create unequal results. Corresponding governmental redistribution shall equalize some of these market results, but leads to inefficiency due to disincentives both for net payers and net receivers. Consequently, this paper analyzes the impact of social inequality on distributive choices in an experimental. Yeah, exactly. People know this stuff. And this sort of thing annoys me in philosophy, where we're putting random numbers on your moral values to say, this theory is better because, it comes out better. And like I was just saying, old story where I was saying, something was like 3 money, like they were using money. And they were using the, the money symbol, the U.S. money, like an S through it. And someone was like, oh, no, that's a variable symbol. I was like, I don't think so. I think it's 3 money. And so they were annoyed because I kept, saying something ungrammatical. This is worth 3 money, and that's worth 4 money. And it turned out, no, they were doing this sort of thing. It wasn't even money. It was one moral value of whatever it was. It's like, yeah, you deserve to be made fun of a little bit when you're trying to put a moral value of 1 where that has no basis, none whatsoever in reality. Now, I know that if you're going to make a model, you have to, put some numerical value on stuff. But if you're relying on the numerical value for anything theoretic, it's just bunk. Because it begs the question, you already decided what the moral value is. And so philosophy like this actually really gets my goat. A lot of stuff like this really, I think it's just a dodge. It's bad philosophy. And we had a paper a few weeks ago where we're saying big numbers and small numbers, and you multiply this, and since you're multiplying it by a very big number, there's a philosophical conclusion. It's like, no, asshole. You're setting it up that way to get the conclusion you want, but the multiplication has no basis in reality. None. It has to do with your prior probability of stuff, if you can go Bayesian about this, but there is no prior probability of setting up a moral value of 1. None. So that's you're already begged the question. So that's the philosophical criticism. Anne's got the sociological and political criticism in chat. Okay. According to Knight, weighted sufficientarianism cannot take the magnitude of advantage into account because in cases like this, it still forgoes large advantages above the threshold for the sake of minor benefits below it. See, again, this whole sentence right here. It's like, yeah, you've set it up that way. You didn't have to actually do the multiplication, but whatever. Anne says, agree, it's X pages of grandiose words to debate something that is very bloody obvious at this point in his 2023 paper. So lame. Yeah, but again, who knows? Knight, forthcoming, therefore proposes that weighted sufficientarianism must be combined with weightings that do not give too much weight to below threshold benefits, but maintains that prioritarianism is better able to do this and rejects weighted sufficientarianism for that reason. You're gonna shut up? Nah, it's fine. People deserve to get a little bit of shit. This is already published. What do they care? Though I agree that distributive patterns should not give too much weight to below threshold benefits, giving too much weight, that is, of course, wrong by definition, I reject Knight's proposal for how sufficientarians should accommodate for that desideratum. Knight proposes that instead of giving lexical priority to below threshold benefits, such benefits should only have extra weight compared to above threshold benefits. Oh yeah, Valpo. Just so you know, I'm also dual streaming to YouTube now since Twitch allows that. So I'm actually also on YouTube. So if anything's funky with stream, let me know. I know I've got a bunch of dropped frames every so often. I'm not too fussed about dropped frames, but whatever. I'm still getting it says I'm getting 30 something frames per second, which is okay for my content. Where was I? Okay, however, the author will argue that below threshold benefits should have both extra weight and lexical priority. More precisely, they should have extra weight compared with benefits just above that threshold, but lexical priority over benefits well above that threshold. I developed this idea in the next section. In doing so, I will argue that such sufficientarianism can meet the 4 desiderata listed above and is preferable to both luck, sufficientarianism, and prioritarianism. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. I don't know what the reach is of the my live stream stuff Like it says I got one viewer over on YouTube at the moment, which is probably one of you people in chat right here. But still. I mean, I guess that's nice. So I thank you, whoever you are, on the YouTube side of things. A proposal, partially weighted multi-threshold sufficientarianism. I will defend partially weighted multi-threshold sufficientarianism, for short PWMS. Oh dear, it's like, yes, you have, congratulations author, you've redefined a new standard, just like all the other new standards in the past. PWMS is a sufficientarian view with multiple thresholds, which gives weighted priority to benefits directly above and below each of its thresholds, but gives providing enough to meet the lowest threshold lexically priority over providing benefits above the highest threshold. Yeah, so again, the people at the bottom get whatever they need, and then it gets graded as you get up. That's it. You've got like it's a gradation. In this section, I explain PWMS in more detail and compare it with other sufficientarian views in the literature. PWMS has multiple thresholds, and importantly, its highest threshold is considerably higher than its lowest threshold. Here I have no particular threshold levels in mind, but we can assume, for example, that the lowest threshold indicates the level above which people can meet their basic needs, and that the highest threshold indicates the level above which people have more than enough to live a very good life. I will refer to these thresholds as T- and T+, where T- refers to the lowest threshold and T+ refers to the highest threshold. Further, PWMS is a partially weighted view which holds that providing enough must be non-lexically weighted with some distributive goals, but has lexical priority over other distributive goals. More specifically, PWMS holds that providing enough to meet T- has weighted priority over providing enough to meet T+. Similarly, it holds that providing enough to meet T+ has weighted priority over providing benefits above T+. This means then that if sufficiently large benefits are at stake to a sufficiently large group of people, providing benefits above T+ can outweigh providing enough to meet T+. You know, it's like really, does like just you're giving a lot of rich people a lot of money can does more than, you know, helping someone just get rich. I mean, I guess it's technically possible. It just seems very weird at a certain point, especially because when people have done studies on this, there's a certain threshold of money where more money doesn't really matter. Like you get to a point where you're comfortable, and then after that, money starts to mean less to you. It's like you're just doing, and at that point, you're not worried about stuff anymore, and like that's okay. If everyone got there, that'd be great, but like we're nowhere near that at this point in society. So like all this, you know, we're giving the people above that are already wealthy even more money because it might actually do them more good. That's just pie in the sky. Okay, likewise, providing enough to meet T+ can outweigh providing enough to meet T-, and similarly for providing as close to enough as is possible for each of these thresholds. However, providing enough to meet T- has lexical priority over providing benefits above T+. And so if we face the choice between providing enough to meet T- or providing benefits above T+, providing enough to meet T- has lexical priority. Consequently, benefits above T+ can never outweigh benefits below T-. Yeah, so there's a cutoff. You just can't give rich people any more until everyone else can eat. That seems normal. The possibility of giving lexical priority to benefits below T- in the way PWMS does is neglected both by Knight and others in the literature. To the best of my knowledge, it is simply taken for granted that if providing enough to meet some threshold has lexical priority, it must have lexical priority over everything that happens above that threshold. And similarly, that if benefits above the threshold are lexically outweighed by below threshold benefits, then any benefit below the threshold lexically outweighs benefits above it. It's a whole lot of references here. What I suggest here, however, is different. I propose to give providing enough to meet T- lexical priority only over what happens well above the threshold, namely T+, and consequently that benefits T+ are only lexically outweighed by providing enough below T-. All right, so here's what's happening here. Once everyone, you can't take away money from like getting people to eat and give it to rich people. But this person's running triage. This is saying you can allow certain people to die if it helps the society get like enough people over like a threshold that, you know, a lot of people will benefit. So this is basically triage at this point, we are not giving rich people anything else, but like we're going to triage what we do have and say certain among you, you're going to die and that's okay. But that's because we're going to help out a lot of other people that need to, have a leg up, even if those people weren't going to die. So, okay. But like, yeah, this is again, the, trying to explain why it's okay to let certain people die. And that's what's happening. All right. It is not difficult to see why single threshold sufficientarian views adhere to the classical idea about lexical priority. If there is only one threshold, and if benefits below that threshold have priority, then such benefits have priority over all benefits above it. Giving lexical priority to some but not all benefits above that threshold is only possible if multiple thresholds are in play. But PWMS is, of course, not the first multi-threshold sufficientarianism in the literature. It may therefore be worthwhile to briefly explain what my proposal adds to this literature and how it differs from other multi-threshold sufficientarian views. Okay, so this might actually be interesting because, as we were saying in chat, doesn't seem like there's anything new here. It really don't. Consider first the view defended by Benbaghi. The multi-level doctrine of sufficiency, the anti-egalitarian priority view, benefiting people matters more the more priority lines or thresholds there are above the utility level at which these people are. The more of these people there are, the greater size of the benefit in question. Okay, so you've got more people, and then you have to deal with like the more people at that point. So this is doing some, like all of these are doing very consequentialist math on number of people and number of benefits. Benbaghi goes on to explain the view I recommend is non-absolutist, and absolutism is clearly counterintuitive. It claims that a slight increase to one person just below the threshold outweighs huge increases to any number of people just above the threshold. Unlike Benbaghi's multi-level doctrine of sufficiency, PWMS is explicitly absolutist and that gives lexical priority to benefits below T-. But even though it is an absolutist view, it does not give lexical priority to benefits below T- over all other benefits, but only over those above T+. PWMS differs from Benbaghi's view in being absolutist, though not in the sense Benbaghi describes. Yeah, so they've got a cutoff. They've got an upper cutoff also. Benbaghi does not have an upper cutoff. This person has an upper cutoff where above that, those people don't get anything if other people are starving. Okay, now consider Husby's defense of sufficientarianism. Husby has defended two versions of multi-threshold sufficientarianism, both of which are absolutist views. Both views say that benefits below the highest threshold have lexical priority over benefits above that threshold. However, the first view, which he defends in Sufficiency, Restated, and Defended, says that it is valuable for people to reach the highest threshold. Whereas the second view, which he defends in Sufficiency and Threshold Question, rejects that it is valuable that people reach the threshold. To put this view in a more familiar sufficientarian phrasing, the first view says that both the positive thesis, which says that it is morally important that people have enough, and the negative thesis, which says that further distribution is not required once everyone has enough, refer to the highest threshold. However, the second view says that these theses refer to different thresholds. The positive thesis refers to the lowest threshold, and the negative thesis to the highest threshold. Though my proposal shares a commitment to absolutism with both of Husby's views, it differs from them by rejecting that lexical priority should be given to any benefit below the highest threshold T+. Whereas Husby adheres to the classical idea of lexical priority modeled after the role it plays in single threshold views, I propose to take advantage of the possibilities that multi-threshold sufficientarianism offers in how it gives lexical priority to benefits below T-. I live in your walls. Who's this? I don't know. You're in my walls. Hi, I'm Nogre0. That's me. What we do here is we read philosophy and discuss it. So what we're doing here is we're going over a position. Yes, the philosopher. We are talking about like how to distribute resources in society, and when people are starving, how do we actually allocate it to them, especially if the resources could be put to really good use other places. So like, do we save everybody or do we only save some people sometimes? And this person's arguing we only save some of the people some of the time, and we always use the money if it was going to go to very wealthy people, but then other times we triage and be like, you can die, but you can live and you can die because we're going to really help lots of people. We don't save anybody? No, that's not fair. We try to, help people out in society. I mean, why would you say we don't save anybody? Like, that's silly. It's like, that person, everyone gets to die. We don't have any clean water in society. Everyone just gets like polluted water. It doesn't matter. You all can die. It's like, nah. We try to, I like civilization. Like, we get cool things like internet when you have civilization. Another difference is that, unlike Hughesby's views, PWMS is agnostic whether it is morally important that people can reach the highest threshold, and is equally agnostic about whether further distribution is required once everyone has reached that threshold. Yeah, but these thresholds are going to be sliding, like they're going to move with society too, so this is weird. Like the idea that like you're not going to move your thresholds, like once everyone has enough, the threshold is going to, for what having more is going to be something. Social Darwinism for the win, yeah, that's probably wrong. There's more going on than just like, oh yeah, these people like failed. It's like, really? It's like we haven't like, killed lots of people for really shitty reasons, and like that's really shitty of us. It's like, no, we definitely killed lots of people for shitty reasons. Like, and so might makes right. It's like, nah, that's crappy. Okay, but if PWMS is specified such that it says that it is important that people reach the highest threshold, then it does not have the counterintuitive implication pointed out by Ben Bagji that slight increases to someone just below T plus outweigh huge increases to people just above it. Yeah. You're all for might makes right? Alright, good luck with that. I mean, most people don't do that. Then again, it depends what you mean by right. What is right? In that case, like if you're doing like the religious thing, like what God says is right, and then of course you're doing God's work. Well, yeah, I know Nietzsche's work, but I mean, I don't know if Nietzsche was always like what might makes right. Is like you want to always be increasing your own sort of kind of life, the way you live. You're supposed to have like, be like a unique, interesting, and like overcoming yourself. I mean, does that mean you get to stomp on everybody else in the world? Well, if that is what overcoming means, like maybe, but like that's not like necessarily meaning you have to stomp on everybody else. And says, I just called my dad, who has a PhD in economics and has been a professor for 30 years, and he's never heard of this term sufficientarianism. Yeah. I mean, what I kind of feel like is that this is like a corner of philosophy where these people have been arguing with themselves and have not gotten out of their little bubble in a while. I didn't read all of his books, maybe two. No, I definitely did not read all of them. No. I mean, the fact that you're going to read all of Nietzsche is like, that's not trivial. It's a bunch of stuff. And secondly, the idea that he is the same philosopher all the time is also not going to be 100%. So it's like people argue over this, sure. But no, I'm not a Nietzsche scholar. And I don't even think I've read all of his main works. No. Or at least not in a long. I've read some of them, but not in a long time, and then parts of others. So it's like, yeah, you're a late Nietzschean. See, okay, so you may know more than I do, very easily. But again, just because you're taking Nietzsche's view on it, that doesn't make Nietzsche like the 100% correct on everything either. Like Nietzsche is not a word of God. I don't even think Nietzsche would call himself word of God. Yeah. Yeah, I really feel like this paper is sort of like in their own little corner. And they've been arguing with themselves and have not poked their head out in a while, which is a little bit unfortunate, but yeah. Let's see, we're almost done though. So we're at section 5, and we only got 2 or 3 more pages. So let's get this done. Okay. He did, haha. His last letter, he called himself a lot. Yeah, see, that's not good either. That would be grounds for reductio at that point. It's like, if you start thinking you're God, you got problems, my friend. Like, I'm sorry, Fred. You got problems if you think you're God. So, like, at that point, it's from Dionysus to the crucified one. Interesting. Okay. If he did do that, and I would take that as reason to not take his view seriously at that point, because it means he's a little, got himself a... You think you're a little bit bigger than you are. Ain't none of us God here. So, yeah. Okay. In defense of partially weighted multi-threshold sufficientarianism, let us assume that, except for being a partially weighted multi-threshold view, PWMS is equivalent to Lux sufficientarianism in all other respects. This entails the following, as Knight defines it. Lux sufficientarianism says that... Oh, he was big, I'm sure. Anne says, this is the type of academic I hate, the types that spend all their time in the office writing, having conversation with other office academics who only want to show off amongst themselves while having zero connection with the real world. Ugh. Yeah, and that's the issue here. I'm happy this person got the paper out. Like, it's not like the worst paper in the world. It just seems very sort of insular, that they're arguing things that have been argued in other places much more, it's been argued a lot of times in a lot of other places. They put it all together for their little area, but again, what does that what value is that adding, in the sense that this has all been said before? Maybe it just hasn't been said right here, but again, you're not adding a whole lot to the discussion overall. All right, so here's the quote. A distribution is more just the more it A, provides enough or close enough as possible, B, increases the overall amount of advantage, C, improves the condition of the worse off, and D, makes distributions sensitive to individual responsibility. Yeah, zero value. Knight then categorizes the different elements of that view. A is the distinctively sufficientarian aspect of the view, while B through D ensure that the view accommodates the concerns with magnitude of advantage, number of beneficiaries, above threshold distribution, distributive distribution, and responsibility and desert that standard sufficientarianism neglects. Okay. End quote. Here, then, I will assume that, like Lux sufficientarianism, PWMS endorses A through D. What sets PWMS apart from Lux sufficientarianism is that it adds that providing enough below T minus lexically outweighs for concerns for B through D above T plus. Yeah, so this is it. This is the one thing they said. It says, if people are starving, we need to help them out. That's the grand thing. They made up a whole system and say, look, the people at the bottom can't be hurt by helping the people at the very top. Never heard that before, I'm sure. As a result, increases in overall advantage, improving the condition of the worse off, and individual responsibility and desert cannot justify benefiting those above T+, if doing so comes at a cost for those below T-. At the same time, however, these concerns can justify benefiting those between T- and T+, even if that comes at a cost for those below T-. And see, this is the other problem with this paper. This is going to be a sliding window, the people between T+ and T-. And so it'd be very easy to move the T+ so high in your world that only the itty bitty top people, the billionaires, the multi-billionaires are above T+. And so this is making it way too easy in like the sort of the theoretical view to like help out the very wealthy, because, oh no, they're not the Bill Gates of the world. We're not helping Bill Gates. We're helping people below that. But if you set the T+ limit of people who, are like super wealthy so high, then like it kind of turns into the shitty situation again. So this is making it, even though it feels like the author here has good intentions, it's making it abusable. This sort of system is very abusable, because you can set the T+ threshold for like the tippy top super high. Knight argues that Lux sufficientarianism and other weighted sufficientarian views still fall prey to the objection about magnitude of advantage. For example, they prefer distributions of like 100-100 over distribution 299 if, say, every 1 unit benefit above the threshold has more value of 1 and every 1 unit benefit below the threshold has more value of 101. This implies that a single benefit to one individual justifies a loss of 100 units to another individual, which violates magnitude of advantage. Again, this is just not adding anything, it's just putting math on it. And that annoys me. However, PWMS also has this implication, especially if the benefits in question are above the T+. However, I consider this to be a strength of PWMS. This is because unlike Lux sufficientarianism and prioritarianism, it means that PWMS is not vulnerable to the opposite version of the objection about the magnitude of advantage. The lower the comparative weight of benefits below T-, the sooner benefits to those above T- outweigh the benefits to those below T-. For example, if those who already live very good lives benefit enough, this can outweigh benefits to the worst off far below T-, no matter how many people live below T-, and no matter how much benefit they could receive instead. This, it seems to me, is morally problematic. PWMS avoids this by giving lexical priority to providing enough to meet T- over providing more for those above T+. Again, yeah, this is all how you set this up. Like, you have to help out the people who are starving according to who actually has plenty. But who has plenty is going to be, again, something arguable, and very rich people are like, oh no, I'm not the super wealthy, I may have enough, but I can do more. It's like, yeah, but this is abusable systems, and it's like, yeah, this is trying to make it very reasonable, like, oh yeah, we're receptive to your concerns, but again, I don't love these abusable systems. It's too separate from reality. Okay. Knight might, of course, respond that such lexical priority invites the excessiveness objection. However, because of how it gives a lexical priority to the providing enough below T minus, yeah, if you're helping out the starving people, you're not being excessive. PWMS significantly mitigates the problem that lexical priority raises compared to with lexical sufficientarianism. Moreover, by accepting some form of lexical priority, it avoids preferring marginal benefits to those who already live very good lives over significant benefits to those below the lowest threshold. It does so by saying that providing enough to meet T minus is not given lexical priority over everything else, but only over benefits above T plus. Some, but not all, below threshold benefits have lexical priority. More precisely, only benefits below T minus have lexical priority, namely over benefits above T plus. Let me end by discussing 3 objections to PWMS. The first is that it still forgoes advantages to many people above the threshold for the sake of providing enough. For instance, an extra year of high quality life for each of 1 billion people above T plus would be outweighed by a minor utility gain for someone below T minus. I grant that this is a consequence of PWMS if such circumstances would arise, yet I believe proponents of PWMS should stand their ground here. A core insight of sufficientarianism is that people should be able to meet some modest threshold. PWMS gives this goal lexical priority not over all other distributive goals, but over some of them, namely those pertaining to people above some high threshold. Whatever objection about foregoing large advantages can be leveled against PWMS, they apply less to PWMS than to lexical sufficientarianism. Yeah, and you can see the kind of thoughts going on in like this area where they're saying, oh wow, rich people and whatever, like maybe we could help them out. See, these are utilitarian fantasies. So it's like you're getting like these sort of deontological, they're trying to split the difference. Deontology at the very poor end and utilitarianism at the very high end, and it's like, okay. Furthermore, the circumstances under which PWMS is supposed to give guidance seldom resemble those fantastic circumstances. Yeah, so again, they know. This is sort of ridiculous shit. As I write this, hundreds of millions of people around the world live in extreme poverty. It is hard to imagine policies or actions that would benefit only a few of these people at the expense of billions of people above T+. Finally, depending on the level of the threshold, there simply are not a billion people above T+. Again, this is what I'm finding so unrealistic. T+ can move. This person has good intentions, but I feel like this person's a nice neoliberal person, maybe a little conservative even. They're like, oh no, we have to do the best we can for the poors. Let's do the best we can for the poors. And the rich people, they're fine. It's like, yeah, but that's coming from a very sort of privileged point where you can set this cutoff where, oh, we know what we need to do, and like we can sort of triage how it goes. It's like, I don't know. I just don't know. It's like this is just sort of getting very neoliberally garbage feel for me. All right, for example, the number of ultra-high net worth individuals, which are people with a net worth of over US 30 million, including their primary residence, is estimated to be around 300,000 in 2020. If T+ tracks such fortunes, such cases cannot occur. Again, see, yeah, it's like, who makes the cutoff at $30 million? Who really makes the cutoff at $30 million for T+? Why not $5 million? I mean, if you go into our buddy Aris's stream, he makes the cutoff at like 200,000. Like if you have more than $200,000 in the bank and you have a house or whatever, you don't need any more really. Maybe it's a few million now, but 30 million? Yeah, maybe. But again, who really is the rich person here? The second objection is that as a multi-threshold view, PWMS requires an arbitrary prioritization of the interests of those just below each of the thresholds compared to those just above each of them, unless there is a compelling rationale for each threshold. This is a greater justificatory burden than facing single threshold views, such as lux sufficientarianism, because it requires a defense of multiple thresholds. I have discussed the arbitrariness objection to sufficientarianism and other problems related to setting thresholds extensively elsewhere, and I will not say much about this here. But multi-threshold views as such are no novelty in debates about sufficientarianism. We draw on these existing views to determine the level of the thresholds. Okay, yeah, so it's like go reference somebody else. Fine. The third objection is that PWMS cannot accommodate for concerns about luck and responsibility. For instance, suppose a vindictive person below T- releases a dangerous chemical that takes a year off the lives of each of the people above T+. We can now use a different chemical to either restore that year for the billion or give a brief pleasant smell to the vindictive person. It seems like PWMS prefers the latter, which is strongly counterintuitive. Moreover, if PWMS must be a plausible alternative to luck sufficientarianism, it should be able to accommodate such concerns. However, right, so you have a supervillain who happens to be very poor, and so should we help the supervillain who happens to be very poor? This is the thing that they're asking here. It's like, really? Okay. It's like you can't do anything to change the calculation. All right. I mean, I expect you can just be like, no, we do not help supervillains. However, following CRISP, I consider just as relevant benefits to be non-trivial benefits, but the pleasant smell to the vindictive person is trivial and so is irrelevant to the standpoint of justice. Yeah, and so now they're hand-waving it away. It says, but we're including justice in the benefits. Yeah, again, this is now, what do you count as a benefit and whose justice is this? You know? If all those rich people weren't doing anything for society, maybe they deserve their lives to be in this like fantasy universe knocked off by a year. Maybe that would encourage them to actually help people that were poor and no super villains would ever arise at that point. Maybe that would be the right thing to do. But again, now we're including justice, but according to who justice? So this is, again, moving the arbitrary lines around on what counts as like having enough or having too much. Yeah, exactly. And there ain't no objective measurement or fair or just. Like, you can maybe get some very basic agreement among people, but there's not going to be. Okay. We must therefore assume that the chemical will non-trivially benefit the vindictive person. Would that be justified according to PWMS? I mean, you can in a way, but like in these sorts of like abstract ideas, like I doubt it. I mean, yeah, you can do the deontological rules. You can do the utilitarian like goodness counts, but like in some sense, these are just reflective of what you already held. You know, like calorie counts, like how much money you need to live a month. That's fair. Like, yeah, you need a certain amount of calories and how much that costs to get you that amount of calories. That's true. But again, that's like not. That is so far removed from like this like poison that kills lots of people or knocks years off your life. Like, yeah, no, that's not what we have. Like, not what we can do. Yeah, fairness. I personally don't need government assistance for childcare, but other people do. Yeah, so again, we could do this stuff, but that falls back on your pre-existing views. None of this sort of like T plus T minus. We're not getting anything out of this theory here. So yeah, it's like then you need to, again, build the justice into the T plus and T minus, which is not going to be like, it's non-trivial. I guess they could say, look, you can do that though, and their theory can account for that. But again, that was CRISP that said this. So they're just, waving the objection away. Okay, so that providing enough to meet T minus has lexical priority over providing benefits above T plus does not justify any kind of redistribution from those above T plus to those below T minus. The vindictive person, for example, clearly fails to treat those above T plus with sufficient concern and respect, and in doing so may forfeit their claim to additional benefits. Again, this is just how they feel justice goes here. Like, this does not actually mean that this is justice. This is just their feeling about it. So there's no eye for an eye here, I guess. Or maybe there is. But, like, exactly what does this mean? Again, this is how you set the T plus and T minus limits. Still, the objection is right in that in certain cases, people who are below T minus due to their own fault will be benefited at the expense of those above T plus. Here again, however, PWMS significantly mitigates the problems that such a lexical priority raises compared with lexical sufficientarianism, because it is only in these specific cases that concerns for luck are lexically outweighed by concerns for sufficiency. With these qualifications in place, sufficientarians should consider the remaining concerns for indifference regarding desert and responsibility below T minus to be a virtue rather than a vice of their view, as is suggested by Roulette. Such qualified indifference is in my view, part of the most plausible view about what justice requires regarding people who are below T- due to their own faults and choices. Yeah, it's like you have to get people out of being poor. Fair. But still. Okay, in this article I have discussed Carl Knight's argument that lexical sufficientarianism falls prey to the excessiveness objection. I have distinguished 3 ways in which sufficientarian views can be weighted, and I have outlined 4 desiderata distributive patterns must meet in response to the excessiveness objection. Furthermore, I have defended partially weighted multi-threshold sufficientarianism, which gives weighted priority to benefits directly above and below each of its thresholds, but gives providing enough to meet the lowest threshold lexical priority over providing benefits above the highest threshold. I have argued that such sufficientarianism is preferable to lux sufficientarianism and prioritarianism, while at the same time responsive to the excessiveness objection. Done. And says, I can't believe this is a 2023 paper. This dude is a few centuries behind in the debate. I swear some people publish any shit just to publish. Yes, that's true. They do publish any shit just to publish, but, you know, that is the world we do live in. Publish or perish. Anyway, let's get a quick review off. And now everyone in chat is welcome to review. If you are on YouTube, you do have to come over to Twitch. I'm sorry about that. I do not have this set up across multiple chats. But if you want to... you can see it on screen. I doubt you probably, you can't use it. But what you can do is you put the little emotes into chat. You can copy them if you're on mobile or can type them out. The names are on screen. So like this was kind of navel gazing. This is basically for only, I don't even know who this is for. We're going to give this 2 navels. We're going to do a vote nay because it was not really worth reading. Let's see. What else can we say? This was not a brain dance. This does not give you any good ideas. Let's see. Big idea that no, this is just, I don't even know what this calls. Yeah, I guess this is golden turd. So this is nog turd. Because it they didn't make any big claims that, dried up. But like they put it all together, but it didn't really do much of anything. So this is going to be, I'm going to give it a second vote nay. Because I do count the number of, stuff that come through. So thank you, Ann, for voting. But it's just like, look, threshold theories, we've known this forever. All this other stuff, we've known this forever. They're just saying, basically, you have to help the people at the bottom and then, make a decision for the people in the middle. And then the people at the top, they don't get any extra help. This is just like, basically, very sort of a conservative viewpoint dressed up as, trying to be like, oh, we're very responsive to the concerns of like how to make policy. This is just not it didn't say anything new. Like they've done it in a kind of not that they just did it in technical language, but I don't care about technical language. That's fine, but did it add anything? I don't think the technicalities really added a whole lot. Granted, in this area, maybe this is how you describe stuff, but again, this is not really adding anything new. Okay, so I'll give everyone else in chat a minute to put anything else in. But thank you all for being here. I guess that'll be it for now. A little bit of a short stream. I don't know if I'll be on tonight. I might go out and go try and say hi to some people. But yeah. Anne says the technicalities muddled the whole thing, made it more confusing just to sound smart. Yeah, I think this could have been easily said, look, we're going to have, instead of, we're just having, a low area where people need help, a middle area where you have to make decisions, and a high area where, it doesn't really matter. And then they were just rehearsing all of the old arguments about, utilitarianism as you went. That was, literally it. So it was just a rehearsal of a whole bunch of stuff that's already been hashed out. And, put it under, fancy words, but, that doesn't do a whole lot of good for anybody. But that's it. Okay, thank you very much for being here. I can't rate Ann because this is not the time Ann streams at. But this was a good, I did a dual stream to YouTube. I think that worked. So the technicalities are good. And maybe I'll try this again soon. I hope to be able to continue with this. But let's see, is there anyone online I can go raid? A lot of people are TwitchCon right now, so there's a lot fewer people online that normally are. So maybe we can go see if there's anyone that needs a raid. But I don't think there's a whole lot of people that... Oh my god, Cardboard Cowboy not Cardboard Cowboy. It's the security guard. Yeah. So, all right. You know what I'm gonna do? Let's go raid. Thank you, Ann. I appreciate that. What we can do is I'm just gonna go right over into the lo-fi. Let's go just listen to some chill music, and then I'll be out of here, and I won't have to chat with anyone. So raid lo-fi Cardboard Cowboy, and this is just chill vibes chat. So just to make a raid out of here. Thank you all for being here, and you don't have to stick around or chat or anything. And I will hopefully, if I don't see you tonight, I'll see you on Wednesday. So, bye byes, have a great day, and thank you for being here. Ciao.